Welcome back, episode 22 here at THT. You know the drill. Subscribe, follow, share, and let's get into it. Nintendo acquires a game developer you've probably never heard of. It turns out Nintendo isn't sitting idly by while Microsoft and Sony spend billions acquiring well-known game studios. SRD has been working on Nintendo games since 1982 and has helped develop games such as Animal Crossing, Donkey Kong, Mario, Zelda, Wii Fit, and Ring Fit. In December, Nintendo announced plans to add a new building to its Kyoto Research Center with a view to creating more games in-house. The SRD acquisition seems to be a key part of this expansion. The company said completion of the acquisition will serve to strengthen the management base of SRD and secure the availability of software development resources for Nintendo, in addition to facilitating the anticipated movement in software development efficiency. So while Microsoft and Sony have some busy months and even years ahead integrating third-party teams into their ecosystem, Nintendo ensures a team of veterans with 4 decades of experience working with the company can keep doing what they've been doing. I imagine it didn't cost Nintendo billions to retain this talent either. Death by robot. Automation increasing mortality rate for U.S. adults. The automation of U.S. manufacturing, whereby robots replace people on factory floors, is fueling a rising mortality rate among working-age adults, according to a new study by researchers at Yale and the University of Pennsylvania. The study found evidence of a causal link between automation and increasing mortality, driven largely by increased, quote, deaths of despair, such as suicides and drug overdoses. This is particularly true for males and females aged 45 to 54, according to the study. Researchers also found evidence of increased mortality among multiple age and sex groups from causes as varied as cancer and heart disease. To understand the role of automation on increased mortality, O'Brien and co-authors Elizabeth F. Blair and Athindar Venkataramani, both of the University of Pennsylvania, use newly available measures that chart the adoption of automation across U.S. industries and localities between 1993 and 2007. They combine these measures with U.S. death certificate data over the same time period to estimate the causal effect of automation on the mortality of working-age adults at the county level and for specific types of deaths. Public policy is needed to support workers who have lost their jobs due to automation and to improve the quality of jobs available to workers without a college degree. Stablecoins gain as Bitcoin and Ether fall after Russia invades Ukraine. Stablecoins, which are virtual tokens pegged to traditional currencies, rallied slightly in the midst of a sell-off in risk assets, including stocks and Bitcoin, following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. In the biggest attack on the European state since World War II, Russian troops battled Ukrainian forces around nearly all of the country's perimeter on Thursday. BitBull Capital's Joe DePasquale says stablecoins like USDC are limited and it's possible to see their value go up a fraction of a percent. The Russian invasion has dampened the notion that Bitcoin is a safe haven, and the world's largest cryptocurrency has behaved more like a risk asset. Nikola reports EV truck progress and stiff losses as it closes out turbulent 2021. Nikola Corp, the electric truck startup that went public via a SPAC, is coming closer to a commercial activity after a history of overpromising, missed deadlines, and investigations into its founder for lying to investors. In its fourth quarter earnings report released Thursday, Nikola ticked off a number of recent milestones, and critically, its plans to begin series production of its electric big rigs. The public company is working towards delivering vehicles and generating revenue. It plans to deliver 300 to 500 of its electric trucks to customers in Q2 of 2022. Nikola is paying installments on a $125 million fine after settling with the SEC and is seeking reimbursement from Trevor Milton, the company's founder and former CEO. Nikola plans to begin production of its Nikola Tre trucks in Arizona and announce 2 or more dispensing station partners in California later this year. Destructive malware hits Windows systems in Ukraine amid Russian invasion. New data-wiping malware has been spotted infecting hundreds of computers in Ukraine as Russia invades the country. IT security companies began noticing the malware on Wednesday, February 23rd, ahead of the Thursday morning Russian invasion. The malware, dubbed Hermetic Wiper, is designed to both erase Windows devices and corrupt the system, preventing the OS from loading. In an email, security firm ESET said it's seen hundreds of machines affected in several organizations across Ukraine thus far, but there are likely more sites. It is assumed the data was destroyed. The malware appears to be very effective, ESET said. Symantec said the malware has been targeting organizations in the financial, defense, aviation, and IT services sectors. Hermetic wiper corrupts a computer's master boot record and is signed by a defunct company, SentinelOne suspects. Symantec security researchers have yet to attribute who's behind the malware attacks on Ukrainian computers, but have previously accused Russian military intelligence officers of developing malware to target the Ukrainian organizations. Tesla settles with EPA over Clean Air Act violations in California. The EPA found that Tesla violated the Clean Air Act at its Fremont, California factory from October 2016 to September 2019. The EPA said Tesla failed to develop a work practice plan to reduce air pollutant emissions and failed to keep required records to prove its compliance. Tesla's paint shop suffered several fires within that period of time. Employees claim that Tesla pushed to hit production goals at the expense of fire and environmental considerations. EPA fined Tesla for violations of federal clean air laws, but it will only pay $275,000, which is a drop in the bucket for a company that reports $5.5 billion in net income last year. Nanoscale sensors measure elusive water levels in leaves. Using nanoscale sensors and fiber optics, a new technology is used to measure water status in leaves, where water in plants is most actively managed. This could lead to breeding more drought-resistant crops. Researchers injected aquadust dyes into maize leaves and then measured water potential inside the leaves and through the mesophyll to develop a model of the tissue response to water stress. To better understand extremes of water stress in plants, researchers are using the technology to measure the local physiology of water management. New Moto Edge Plus makes Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra look a lot less appealing. The Motorola Moto Edge Plus, announced this morning, is the company's first US flagship since it announced the Moto Razr 2 in 2020, and it comes just days before the start of Mobile World Congress and the release of the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. The Moto Edge Plus, available in blue or white, sports a sleek and slim aesthetic that's reminiscent of its predecessor. The front of the phone features a bezel-less 6.7-inch 2400 by 1080 pixel AMOLED display with a 144Hz refresh rate. The back is made of laser-etched glass to add additional grip and reduce the appearance of fingerprints and scratches. A massive 60-megapixel camera peeks through the display's central hole punch. A side-mounted fingerprint sensor is integrated into the phone's power button. Motorola chose to forego an in-display fingerprint sensor in favor of a side-mounted sensor based on in-depth consumer research, said Doug Michow, the company's executive director of North American Business Development. Helping protect third-party app interconnectivity. Asterix Security is a new security solution that enables enterprise organizations to monitor and control their ever-growing web of interconnected third-party applications. The integration of the third-party software into critical systems to drive enterprise growth is largely unmonitored, exposing businesses to a growing attack surface vulnerable to supply chain attacks, data spillage, and compliance violations. Asterix provides full integration lifecycle management to help security teams mitigate risks posed by third-party integrations. Alon Jackson, CEO and co-founder of Asterix, shared with Geek Time that Asterix helps secures app integration access to critical platforms and helps security leaders transform from connectivity gatekeepers to growth partners. The rise of bleisure trips, how post-pandemic business travel will change. Business travel revenue is expected to return to normal by the end of 2024, but how workers participate in face-to-face meetings, how long they stay, and what new amenities they'll get will be very different. Global business travel activity plunged 53.8% in 2020 as companies turned to video conferencing and virtual events during the COVID-19 pandemic, according to data from the Global Business Travel Association. Now, as the Omicron variant wanes, most travel managers feel employees are willing to travel, according to the GBTA's January poll. 2 in 3, or 64%, feel their employees are willing or very willing to travel for business, and 72% of GBTA members and stakeholders say they would definitely or probably travel for business. Some workers enjoy traveling, but in light of the Great Resignation, will want less time away from home. Another emerging trend with an unfortunate marketing name is bleisure travel, where business travel is combined with leisure or tourism. The GBTA refers to it as blended travel, but the meaning is the same. Business travelers add days onto the front or back end of their business plans to relax. In a survey conducted last year, 82% of corporate travel managers believe their workers are more interested in blending travel than before. Travelers will likely see more outdoor amenities offered in hotels and conference venues, and will need to find new uses for meeting and conference spaces. Face ID repairs no longer require replacing your phone. Having the Face ID fail on your phone is set to become a repairable fault rather than a situation where a replacement iPhone is the only option. As MacRumors reports, an internal memo reveals that Apple is making available a true depth camera service part, which can be used by Apple stores and authorized service providers to replace the module in an iPhone. The service part contains all the necessary components for both Face ID and the front-facing camera. This is significant because until now, the whole iPhone would need replacing. The repair can be carried out on the iPhone XS and newer models. The memo points out that this will help reduce the carbon footprint of its Apple products, but customers are surely going to be happy simply in the knowledge they get to keep their iPhone. It's unclear exactly when the True Depth camera service part will become available, but it may not be usable to solve all faults. Apple is updating the Service Toolkit diagnostic tool so that it informs technicians when the module can be replaced or if a whole device replacement is necessary. And of course, new training will be required to learn how to replace the module. In the meantime, try not to break Face ID. That concludes this episode of Tech Headlines Today. Share the episode if you enjoyed it and subscribe if you're new. We'll see you on Monday.